Welcome to ETF Edge, your go-to place for everything exchange-traded funds. I'm your host, Bob Pisani. Joined today by Dave Nadig, Managing Director at ETF.com. Tim Seymour is the founder and CIO of Seymour Asset Management. Will Rhind is founder and CEO over at GraniteShares. We're just a few weeks away from the end of 2019, and it's been a banner year for ETFs. You might be wondering what ETF broke out or had the biggest impacts on market this year. Dave, any thoughts from you here? Your ETF of the year, and when I say ETF of the year, I don't mean the one that's outperformed. I mean the one that you think has been impactful on the market or that came out of nowhere and got attention.
Well, you know, we've been talking about ESG for years here, and this year we finally saw some breakout flows. I will highlight the iShares SUSL. It's the MSCI ESG Leaders Fund. It's pulled in over $1.5 billion since it launched in May. I think that took a lot of people by surprise. I think ESG is here to stay, and people will stop snickering about it.
I agree. ESG, after years, finally broke out this year and is a topic of conversation.
Well, I think it's really interesting because for the retail investor, for the self-directed high net worth, for the advisor, you want to follow what institutions are doing. If you're a big pension fund, ESG is your mandate now. Yeah. You have no choice but to be adherent. And I think I think these ETFs are going to continue to outperform. We've all heard about what's going on in the oil and gas sector and what companies are going to have to adhere to by 2021, 2022. So I like the call.
And your choice ETF of the year, you want to?
This isn't too novel, but I think semiconductors, so the SMH, were so important to really getting the pulse of the market and the dynamic with the trade war. The cyclicality of semiconductors are clearly always at risk when you're, we were talking about recessionary headwinds in the United States 4 or 5 months ago. And I think the fact that semiconductors outperformed, they were very resilient. They also showed that enterprise spend and that the cyclicality of the chips business may actually be supportive right now to the global economy.
You like it better than tech, because XLK obviously had a great year as well. A lot of tech funds had great years, but you like the semis specifically.
I like the semis because, again, when you look at what are the things that may be getting back to the bottom of the cycle here. So if you look at DRAM prices, if you look at NAND inventories, I actually think that this could even be a decent harbinger for 2020.
Will, you thoughts, ETF of the year, anything make an impact on you that surprised you or you thought was important?
Yeah, I think if you're talking about impactful, sometimes impactful is not always just about raw performance in the market. I would actually think about impactful being what ETF got the most outsized coverage in the year. And to me, that was the Bitcoin ETF. The Bitcoin ETF didn't even happen or doesn't even exist. And we're still waiting for that, of course. But I think an ETF that just sucked up a huge amount of oxygen, huge amount of torque, but obviously never actually made it to market.
Yeah, I agree on your choice on the ESG. What surprised me was minimum volatility and attention it got, because to me, owning utilities and Pepsi and Coke and McDonald's, which are all minimum volatility, not very interesting, and yet it garnered an enormous amount of attention as people were very defensive oriented in the middle of the year. So USMV, SPLV, they are rivals, they have a slightly different methodology, but that would be my vote for impactful.